All right, so now we are on to round two officially of the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs as we are taking a look at the Western Conference matchup between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, where we take a look at that series in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below, and let's take a look at this preview for the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. So we are in for a heck of a series here between the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Two very different teams on most people's perspective on who will win the Stanley Cup this year. As I think a lot of people have the Colorado Avalanche probably as the favorite since the beginning of the season, even up till now, as probably one of, if not the favorites for the Stanley Cup here in 2020. The Colorado Avalanche just finished off a series against the Arizona Coyotes, and they looked pretty damn good in that series. They look good in their round-robin series as well. Meanwhile, the Dallas Stars just did a nice job. They beat the Nashville Predators in the play-in round. They were able to find a way to get things done there, and they looked pretty solid as well in their most recent series against the Calgary Flames. They just found a way to get things going, and they really didn't let off the gas pedal. They played very well in that series. Looking at the goaltending matchups, you've got for the Colorado Avalanche, really a goaltender in Philip Grubauer, who I was a little bit, on the fence about going into this year's playoffs, and plenty of you Avalanche fans have let me know he is a very solid goaltender, and he's proven that. He's looked very solid for the Avs at points. He's going to be tested a little bit more in this series against the Dallas Stars, but this is going to be a good matchup, I think, for him. Meanwhile, on the other side for the Dallas Stars, Ben Bishop is not supposed to be starting tonight. It will likely be Anton Khudobin here in Game 1 for the Dallas Stars. Looking at the matchups, for the players, I think the big thing here is the depth, and I think the Avalanche depth up front is just way too strong compared to the Dallas Stars. I think the Dallas Stars will pull together a pretty decent series, but I really like the Avalanche. The amount of depth, that really good first line, followed up by the rest of the other three lines. You could roll out any line; it won't really matter. That's a huge advantage for the Avalanche. Not to mention their defense looks very solid, very deep as well. The Dallas Stars do have, I would say, the best pairing defenseman in John Klingberg and Maro Heiskanen. I think that's going to be a problem for the Colorado Avalanche. But besides that, I think there's not a ton of walls that the Avalanche can't get past here in the Dallas Stars in this series. Tyler Seguin's been on at points, Jamie Benn as well, but they haven't been consistently out there. The big guy to worry about for the Colorado Avalanche in this series is Denis Guriano, who he did score 4 goals in that last game that they played, so his stats are a little bit inflated. But before that, he still had 3 goals, so he's got 7 goals on the postseason. He's playing very well right now, so that's a guy that the Avalanche are going to have to keep an eye on. Nathan MacKinnon, Gabe Landeskog, all those guys, they're all playing very well for the Avalanche. Doesn't really seem to matter who it is. Tyson Jost has gotten on the board a couple of times. He's trying to stay in the lineup for the Avs. The Avs blue line looks very solid. Nikita Zadorov putting in a couple goals as well. So just the depth is so strong for the Avalanche. I think, like I said, I think that's going to be a huge advantage for them in this series, barring injuries or just playing so many games in a short amount of time. They're able to roll the lines a little more. The Dallas Stars, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that as much, but we're going to have to wait and see how this series goes. I'm really favoring the Avalanche in this series. I gave the Avalanche a lot of, I really underrated them in their series against the Arizona Coyotes. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to go with the best team probably right now in the Western Conference, and I'm including Vegas in that category. I just really like how the Avs look this year. They look really solid here in the playoffs. They have the goal support. The goaltending has been very solid from Philip Grubauer. Unless he completely falls off a cliff in this series, I don't see how the Dallas Stars are able to survive and move on. So don't be surprised if this series goes to 6 games. I think the Dallas Stars can do that, especially if Ben Bishop comes back in and he's ready to go and he looks solid. That could be an issue and maybe make this go to a 6 or 7 game series. But I have the Colorado Avalanche winning this series in 6 games. So comment down below, what do you think of my predictions? What are your predictions for this series between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to help us get to 500 subscribers, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.